Hey everybody, it's Brad with the Big Family Homestead, and in this video I have yet another story from the road. That's right, one of my back in the day band, rock and roll Christian rock band stories, and it's true. So without any further ado, let's get cracking. So yeah, basically you guys know what's going on in our family, that Christa has been kind of laid up with her sciatic nerve problem, and we're getting ready to take her to the chiropractor tomorrow, and we've had to really kind of realign all the chores in the house so that her chores get distributed so that everybody has a little bit more to do, but so she can relax and work on healing. So today, instead of doing an outside, working in the fields and doing whatever it is that I normally have to do, I figured I would have to do something a little bit easier production-wise so that I can share something with you, but I can also make sure that all the chores get done. So today is yet another road story. Now, like I said, this is a true story, Scout's honor, cross my heart, whatever all that stuff is. But basically, here it is. I don't know what I would name the story. Maybe you guys name the story in the comment section below after you've heard it. But once again, this is a true story. But I got to set the scene. Now, when this story took place was when cell phones were very, very expensive. A portable flip phone would cost you just a ton of money because they were still trying to figure out plans and there were not enough cell towers. And it would not be uncommon for a guy who was in a band on the road to spend $300 a month on just plain old cell service. This is not like texting and not photos or video or anything like that, just the ability to pick up the phone and call. Well, there was a gentleman who will remain nameless to protect his identity, who was in our band. We had hired this individual, a guitar player, and the issue for him was he had a girlfriend who was also an artist, okay? So we're in a touring band, she's in a touring band, and so you can imagine the cell phone bills they were chalking up because, oh, we're so in love. And and so the cell phone bill, what happened was this poor guy, he was spending so much money trying to keep up with it. What would happen is he'd have his phone shut off because he couldn't afford to pay the bill. Then we'd make a bunch of money. Then he'd pay the bill off and get the phone turned back on. And then he'd, same vicious cycle. He kept getting it turned on, turned off, turned on, turned off, turned on, turned off. Well, at this point now, we're in a small church in, I believe it was South Carolina, but it was cold out. I remember it being very cold out. It was probably in the 30s, fall, and we're kind of getting ready for this gig. We're sound check's already done, and we're only like, 30 minutes before showtime, and I walk around the corner of this church, and I run into this individual, and he's dripping wet, completely soaking wet, like from head to his feet, 100% wet. And I was like, whoa, dude, we got to play here in a half hour. What are you doing? And then it was like, well, what are you doing? At first it was like shock. We're not gonna get the gig, to start on time. And then secondly, it was like, why are you soaking wet in your stage clothes? Brad pensively strokes his beard and wonders what could possibly be. Well, here's the scoop. This is what actually happened. He confessed, and he told us the truth. And, well, here's the deal. He was being a bad boy. He was being a very bad boy. His phone had been shut off, so what he was doing, he said that he was looking around the church for a phone that you could actually pick up and use long distance. Now, that's not always easy to find because a lot of them back in the day had codes on it where you had, if it was gonna be long distance, you'd have to type in a code or else it wouldn't let you go. So he said what he was doing was he was going into different parts of the church, and if he was trying to find a phone that would work. Naughty, naughty boy. And you'll see why he gets his just desserts in this. But so he said he ended up going down this one hall, and it kept getting darker and darker, and then he had to go up some stairs, and then he went further, and it was darker, and so he said he was just kind of scanning the wall, but he said it was completely pitch black. And then he said he went up another short flight of stairs, and he said maybe 6 or 8 of them. And then he's walking and walking, scanning the wall with his hand for a light switch. And then he said, all of a sudden, I was completely in the air and then completely submerged in total blackness. I was rolling around, freaking out, panicking. And what do I do? Completely dark, under the water. Holy smokes, what do I do? He puts his feet down and realizes there's steps here. And he gets out, and he can kind of see a little bit now because his eyes have adjusted. He had fallen into the baptistry. See, you get what you get. And I guess if you had to, well, what would you guys label this story? I think the moral of the story is, hey, don't go try stealing, long distance, you cheapskate. Or maybe just ask somebody. They probably would have let him, just use the phone, but instead he was trying to be a sneaky, sneaky snake. So now, for those of you who may not know what a baptistry is kind of like a little mini swimming pool that's built into the church behind the altar. And when somebody makes a confession that they want to get baptized, they can do it inside without having to go to a river or a body of water nearby. It's a thing of convenience that is provided, and well, it's kind of like a swimming pool. Yeah, well, and he got his just desserts. So there it is. True story, Scout's Honor. What would you name the story down below? I've made a title, but hey, what's your take on the story? I'm Brad with Big Family Homestead, and you guys have an amazing day.